City Jazz Sessions is about great music, arts, and entertainment. We are located in St. Louis, Missouri, and available to performance art lovers worldwide. Follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, and Twitter. You can email us at cityjazzsessions@gmail.com.
All right, all right. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another enjoyable and great City Jazz Sessions podcast, St. Louis in the world. We're sitting here um, with some wonderful people. Um, Tonight, I'm going to introduce you to Eric Delente, who's a masterful musician, producer. He's also an entrepreneur, and he's done quite a bit of work outside of music to better life conditions for people. He is an extraordinary father. He is a great friend. He all them things, and he's from St. Louis, and we went to U City together. So, you know, he's now living in Maryland, and with his family. He has a wonderful family. Uh, some of our children actually spent time together growing up. You know, they're still friends on Instagram and things like that. So, Eric, welcome to St. Louis Jazz Sessions. I'm going to introduce you really quick. Our tech person is Leon, um, and our producer is Warren Harper. And we have usually a co-host with me, Laker Hewitt, who is an exceptional vocalist in St. Louis area, a mother, and she's a wonderful person. And we also have the co-host of Al, baby Al Caldwell, who you know very well. So, yeah. So, ladies and gentlemen, this is Mr. Eric Delente, and we're just going to open up and start talking and, having a good time. So, Eric, how you doing today?
Ronnie, it's such a privilege to have this opportunity to talk to you. You know, we haven't really had a good talk in a long time, and I'm so glad to talk to you. And I think this is so awesome as you're doing. So, I do in my heart feel like St. Louis is such a special place for music, jazz particularly, but just music and arts in general. And you and I both benefited so much from that rich culture that I've been traveling the whole world for the last 40 years, and I don't see that kind of a community commitment to making the arts accessible to everybody and that kind of thing. And I hope that we can continue to support that and foster that in St. Louis.
Absolutely, man. I want to tell you guys a little bit about Eric. He's one of the producers of early Lenny Kravitz's work. Eric had a recording studio in the West Village of New York in the crazy days when you walk down the street and you say, "Wait a minute, what's going on over in that corner over there?" But he had all kind of people in the studio. As a matter of fact, I did a great recording session with the great Steve Barrios, who is no longer with us, where Steve and I played percussion and bata. You remember that session?
I do. That was amazing, and it was
quite a while ago.
For musicianship that we got in our studio, right? We did a lot of rap and a lot of hardcore stuff like that, but we had the occasional pleasure of having really awesome, amazing. They're we had Kennedy's in there a couple times, and you and other cats like that, and it's always a pleasure to hear. It's less editing.
Yeah, tell our audience a little bit more of why you came to do that studio and some of the people that were there. Yeah. I think Butch was there in and out too, right?
Butch was there a lot too. Yeah. So basically, I moved to Manhattan after playing with the Ralph Butler Band for a number of years, right? Like my good friend Al Caldwell got my first gig, my first real paying gig with Ralph Butler, and this is kind of in the early '80s, and just after I graduated and started school. But anyway, so after playing with Ralph for 3 or 4 years, like half the band went to Nashville, and there's a sad story there, right? Like Terry Jackson, Tony Saputo, and Kirk Capello, who all played in that band, they ended up playing with Reba McEntire, and their plane crashed into a mountainside between gigs at one point.
That's right.
Tragic.
That's right.
Very tragic thing.
Tragic.
But I decided to go to New York and get my master's degree at Manhattan School of Music, which I did. And I had the opportunity to study with a lot of people, but most notably with a very famous violinist that you know from Philadelphia. And it was just
John Blake.
John Blake, of course. I was waiting for you.
Right. Yeah.
And it's the most amazing, not just a violin teacher, but just an amazing human being, and just really helped grow so much as a human as well as a violinist as well. But so I did that for a couple of years, and then I literally just walking down the street, like this kind of stuff happens in Manhattan, right? Like walking down the street, you never see the same person twice, except when you do. And I bumped into my old girlfriend, like my old friend Amy Hertzig, and she told me, "Hey man, I make jewelry now." And she was making quartz jewelry in Soho, and she was making jewelry for Lisa Bonet. And she goes, "Hey,
oh wow, right.
Yeah, I'm having a party tonight, and you should come to the party and check it out." And she's talking to da 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 da. And so I said, "Okay, cool." And so I hooked up with her, and that's how I met Lenny Kravitz actually at that time, right? And so we were at that point, we just had a little tiny like 12 tracks that we were using for fun. And that was before we moved to West Village. But then, that and a number of other things, we were doing a lot of film scores for NYU film students and did it for a lot of people that became famous. That whole NYU film school was kind of a cult for people to learn. And a lot of famous people went there. A lot of famous people were teaching there. Anyway, so we were really into doing film scores. And so, I was always kind of intrigued by computers and computer music and MIDI and stuff like that, right? And anyway, so, right, like a dork. I was a total geek dork guy, but I was into doing music too. And this goes back. My mom is a very famous pianist. Yes. I'm going all over the place. I'm sorry, but my mom's a really well-known
That's okay.
pianist.
That's what we do.
She was knighted.
It'll all come together.
She actually has her Chevalier des Arts, which is basically being knighted by the French government for her contributions to French music, French piano music, specifically expert in Ravel and Debussy. And she taught some of the greatest pianists. She's a pedagogue mostly, right? She taught Dave Smith, right? Peter Williams was one of her, studied with her for a while when he was at Webster. And he was notable and really an incredible pianist. But so she got me into all this stuff. Now I've lost my train of thought. But to get back to kind of,
Lenny. Lenny in the studio, that's where you were.
So anyway, we were doing all kinds of really cool digital stuff. We had one of the first all digital recording studios. We were doing video and stuff like that. Lenny was the complete antithesis of digital stuff, right? Like at one point, they actually bought the Abbey Road's console, and everything he had to be analog, right? But we were still doing stuff.
Let me. I gotta slow you down a little bit, Eric, because a lot of people might not know what the Abbey Road console is. That's the console that was used to record the Beatles. Am I correct?
Yeah, it's a series of channels that came out of the console that recorded a lot of really famous Beatles songs. Right. And so Lenny basically rescued it from going to some museum. Right. And anything he did would run through stuff like that and become very, 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 very rich and saturated and like now when we work in digital domain with Pro Tools and digital audio, we try to emulate the kind of saturation that a 2-transistor transformer would give us, and right. We try to make it rich and deep sounding.
Yeah, like that. And that old. And remember the old outboard equipment, the Tube Tech.
Yeah,
that we used to use in the studio so we could make things sound warmer because with all of the digital stuff, everything was so stark. Absolutely.
Yeah. It's essentially like nice distortion, right? It's what makes the stuff sound. Right. It's like a little burn on your steak or whatever, right? Like we used to joke about making great music is a lot like cooking, right? You gotta
absolutely.
Have and you gotta serve it at the right temperature, and it's like a lot of all these parameters all together at the right time.
That's right, and you can't overcook it.
And you don't want to overcook, but you don't want to undercook it either, right?
That's
you
right.
Want to keep gotta stay interesting, right? So anyway, we decided to sort of build out this studio in Manhattan, and we had I think we had 3 or 4 rooms, and we had a nice Steinway in there, and a decent set. I think most drummers brought their own sets, but it was a great adventure, right? We started post-production and films, but then had the great opportunity to do stuff with, Daddy-O came in there a lot. We had a really good friend of mine from Canada, Scotty Hard, used to come in there and do stuff, and he actually brought us some work for Wu-Tang Clan, where we would record beats occasionally and do demo mixes and stuff like that, and then we had the honor of doing the radio, which, as you might imagine, for a Wu-Tang album is a lot of work, right? So
absolutely,
yeah. So fun, but that was our big claim to fame with them, right? Like doing that kind of stuff. But with Len, he would come over and he would just try stuff out. He would, he had his purple Harley back then. And we had a big garage in the basement, and he would pull it in, and it was a big show. Like, no one really knew who he was at that point. But then when his first record came out, in 94, I guess 93, 94, Let Love Rule, right? We had done a lot on there, and he had like through the meeting I had with my friend from St. Louis, Amy Herzig, who was friends with Lisa Bonet. We ended up doing the strings for that album, and I think I even have a little like 2-bar solo on that record and stuff like that. But that was my kind of kind of whole retro stuff, right? And now I'm playing with a sort of a psychedelic roots rock band. This is all this is trivial compared to the level of music that you do, Ronnie. You know that, but it's still fun. I think I know you appreciate, like right now I'm playing in a trio and I'm playing the bass parts on a 7-string violin. So I'm exploring a whole different domain on the violin now, right? Like, so I go down to a B flat, a cello, and I go through an octave pedal too. I really hit some low stuff. So I play through a bass amp. And now it's more about being in bass and groove and feel than it is about playing a lot of notes. And anyway, I learned so much all the times I had fun playing with you, and all throughout high school, right? Like we had Brophy and Linda Pressgraves and then Creswell Jazz. Up to you, Ronnie. God, Ronnie's playing with, oh my God, he's opening for Tina Marie and whatever, all this stuff he's doing, right? Where it's like, oh my God, Ronnie's in my class. That was kind of, right? So
get out of here, man.
What's part of the vibe? It's like, it was really cool to go to U City and be in that band, and you were always the the coolest thing. That definitely had an effect on my desire to become, to pursue jazz.
Oh man, well I'm glad, man. I'm glad.
Yeah,
I'm glad, man. I mean, we've done some great things together. We did the Blue Noise recording. With Mike Boone and Benito Gonzalez, and it's a few people on there. Spiral Gyra bass player Scott Ambush.
Yeah, Scott.
Eric Sales on guitar. Yeah, man, and it's a great record. We're gonna put that up once we edit this later on the YouTube. We'll put it up so people can find it somewhere. Awesome. But Eric, you also did. I thought you didn't you do a little studying with Mikael Urbaniak too?
No, I never actually. I studied D.A. Lockwood when I was in New York a little bit, right?
Oh, D.A. Lockwood. That's right. That's the
Lockwood.
one I was talking about. Yeah.
My main teacher was John, right? John Blake was my main teacher.
Right. And now, see, a lot of people might not even know those names, but those guys were incredible violinists, man.
Oh yeah.
And D.A. Lockwood, he was, yeah. I think he did some things also with Jan Hammer and other people back in the day. Definitely Billy Cobham. And John Blake, of course, his tenure with McCoy Tyner and Grover Washington. So you were in great company. And Eric is, I'm not, Eric is a world-class violinist. I've always been trying to push him to play more, but that's going to lead us into the other sides of his life, because he does some other amazing things. A lot of things I know for proprietary reasons he can't tell us about, but some of them he can. And so, Eric, let's talk about some of the other things, like part of some. I know you've been involved in some inventions and things like that to help people. Let's talk about a little bit of that.
Yeah, sure. So, like, my computers initially was around, using it for digital recording and music, but very quickly multimedia kind of evolved in the mid 90s, right? And so I got really involved into how we can combine visuals and sound and media. And learned very quickly that there was an appetite in the corporate and healthcare space to train people, to educate people to about how to do things. And so my wife and I started, we both got jobs at this little kind of multimedia company because we're both interested in it, because this is kind of fun, kind of weird, quirky stuff. And then very quickly, as the internet evolved, we ended up creating a company that was focused on supporting medical associations on educating physicians in general, like
Right.
so medical physical certifications. We worked a lot with the American College of Cardiology, American Heart Association, American Academy of Ophthalmology, creating online programs where physicians could keep up to date and make sure that they were understanding the latest guidelines, the latest, now it would be especially relevant, but back then, just understanding and staying up to date on what the CDC was saying about disease X or disease Y. And that evolved more into like working towards pharmaceutical research and what's now called ClinTech. So, we created a company that basically had a big platform. And one of the sort of spin-off products we made, which was the most successful thing, was a thing called secure consent, which is basically the first time people could consent to participate in a clinical trial electronically. I know that's very, very specific, but that company ended up being sold to a company called Drug Dev in 2016, and then Drug Dev was sold to a bigger company about 3 months later, and that was really kind of a big shoot off for me to like, just to be like, in the big time now, right? And sort of, I got a big awards in the pharmaceutical industry for creating something innovative and those kind of things. And anyway, so that's been a great part of my career. Right now, in addition to playing with the psychedelic roots rock band, which is more a part-time thing, I work at a company called So System, which was actually my competitor, who now I work with. We become really good friends. At a company called Metadata, which was acquired by all kinds of acquisitions going on, right? So it's very nasty.
Right.
But the System, one of the really coolest things we're working on is called the digital twin. And basically what we're doing here is we're going to be able to take a person's medical history, medical records, their things about their DNA, just things about them that are personal, and create artificial models of their organs. So rather than test clinical drugs on real people or animals or whatever, or even actually real people, because you had to do that to see if they're safe, we can get a lot closer to a drug that's tolerable and that's more effective in specific situations, kind of leading towards what's called personalized medicine by testing them on a computerized model, if you will, of a human or a person, a specific person, not of a demographic. Not like, right now we say, oh, we have to test drugs on Black people and Chinese people and white people and whatever. And, right now the diversity in clinical trials is so bad that we don't know really if drugs are going to work in a lot of these marginal populations because they don't participate in because it's right. But, hopefully the pandemic has changed the mindset about that a little bit. Understanding the way we solve medical problems is through clinical research, and that makes the world.
Yeah, and right now, with the advancements being made, there has to be some types of balance. Of course, I understand the community and a lot of things because we've been duped so many times, with all types of things. Even right there in St. Louis with the stuff that they did in Pruitt-Igoe, running tests with people,
there's
doing
no
gases and everything with people of color. So I definitely get it. But there are some serious advancements, and with this technology you're talking about, it seems like it crosses the boundaries. It doesn't, if you get those types of samples of all of these different people, it can only benefit them, to find out what actually will work on them, on their bodies. Right. So, that's a beautiful thing.
It's 20 or 30 years out, right? But at least we know. Right now, we know it's not a precise art, but precision medicine as a concept is intended to, hey, we're not going to treat you based because you're in this whatever Venn diagram of people. We're going to treat you specifically because of your particular exact medical situation, right?
Right. Yeah. See, that's that's some very interesting stuff. That's why I was hoping that my co-host Laker was here because she's in she works as a medical in the medical industry, as a medical worker. I'm not exactly sure.
Well,
maybe Warren, you could chime in if you know exactly what what she does.
Yeah, but informed consent was invented because
Laker's a dietitian and a fitness, so she's definitely into the health aspects.
Right. She's a dietitian and fitness expert. Yeah. Okay, go ahead, Eric. I'm sorry.
No, that's very relevant, right? So, but
absolutely.
Informed consent itself was invented because of unfairness to compromised populations, right?
Right.
the whole thing, you know, and I don't have the names in front of me, but like, you know, like experiments on prisoners who were mostly black, right?
Right, right,
And
right.
all that kind of stuff. You know, those are the things that led
Yeah.
to understanding the importance of informed consent. And that's the kind of thing that drives me. Like, sure, there's a possibility for greed and corporate stuff like that to happen, but you know, even you know, Shonda, you know, she's involved in ethics and diversity and research and stuff like that too, right? And
Right.
really important that we understand that kind of stuff, right? So
Right, right.
anyway, I'm going off on a super tangent, but what a great
That's okay though. We do that every once in a while. You know, we just come back in. So you were talking about some awards a minute ago, but I know when you guys had your company Inform, um, can you talk about, because Eric's wife also carries, she's amazing. They put together this company together. Um, Talk about some of that, what you guys did with that. I know that company's been sold, but I remember you guys were getting awards every year for doing some things.
Webby
in the
Awards,
area.
Addy Awards, and all kinds of, you know, all kinds of stuff. And so, you know, basically we bought this amazing Victorian mansion, and we were able to pay for that with this company. And actually, it wasn't the whole company was sold; it was just one sort of spin-off product that was sold. And I went along with that and sort of left that company. But
Okay.
meanwhile, Carrie has continued to build that business. And we also, you know, we wanted to have a public space in the downstairs because it's such a gorgeous building. And so she became friends with Brian Voltaggio, who's one of the top chefs, right?
Right.
And so after the pandemic, the restaurant that was originally open there, had to close, but she since has revived it. And now Thatcher and Rye is a restaurant there. And in fact, you know, we talked about Al Caldwell. He and Raquel are playing once a month there. We do a jazz brunch on Sundays, and they're playing a little bit there. And by the way, if you haven't heard Raquel Caldwell, she's freaking amazing. She's just an incredible
His
talent.
daughter, right?
Yeah, it's his daughter, his baby girl.
Yeah, he tells us a lot about it. I think Warren's going to chime in now because Warren was really keen on bringing Al in, right? Because he loves Al's crazy hillbilly sense of humor.
Yeah, yeah. Al is like super busy trying to get things together, but he sent me a short audio clip of his daughter on guitar. Man, I was sit back. It was nice.
Yeah, I've had the privilege of hearing a lot of that stuff, and her range is so crazy. I mean, she can do stuff like Joni Mitchell, and then jump into some Billie Holiday stuff, and then she's still playing bass and guitar and piano, and you know, she was a freaking MBA from Georgetown, magna cum laude or whatever it was, like, you know, just crazy,
right.
off the charts, brilliant person, but she wants to play music, and I think that's more of that kind of attitude, right? We need people who decide, I don't care how much money I can make, the opposite of what I did, but you know, like, we need more of that in the space, right? Like,
yeah, he brags about her all the time, man. I can't wait to meet her. I can't wait to hear her. I mean, I've seen her before, but you know, I really want to hear her musical stylings. I mean, and Al is all over the place. He's amazing, you know, and also with the history of the music as well. I want to bring him up to do a workshop with my students up here at Brooklyn College or at SUNY Old Westbury or something. But we have to coordinate that for next year. You know, with this COVID, it's been pretty rough. I haven't been able to do anything like that on either campus. But now they're opening back up. So Eric, what so you're gonna be with me in St. Louis, right, on the gig?
I am. I'm looking forward to that. Yeah.
Yeah, good. So we're gonna work that out. I got to get you some more music. I've been writing more music, so I got some other crazy stuff for the spring section.
Like, I appreciate you sharing that stuff, and I'm gonna need this much time to get up to snuff on it, right? So.
All right.
Yeah.
In the meantime, when are you guys hitting again with your band?
Well, I'm playing.
You guys ready?
I'm playing tomorrow in Frederick. With a duo. We have a sort of a duo version of the band, guitar and violin. We're playing tomorrow in Frederick at the it's a place called Old Mothers on Market Street. And then we have you can go to my website. It's the Facebook, the Chevra Band Facebook page. Chevra, like the cheese, but also the French word for goat. Right. Like, so anyway, so.
Oh, that's the French word for goat?
Chevra, right, which is like goat cheese.
Yeah, all right.
Goat cheese, right? But
right. Okay, yeah.
So that's the sort of
Oh,
vague a simile to like, heavy metal rock kind of thing, right? That kind of thing.
right,
So
right, right. Yeah, that's funny, man. Have you seen Scott at all? Ambush?
uh, I haven't seen him. I haven't seen him for a couple of years. I know Carrie's doing some things with him, and I know he's around, and I think he's back. He might be back on the road now, but I haven't had to talk to him lately. But he's
Well, tell
around.
us some of the things that Carrie's doing in with her work with Scott and things like that. She could have come in and joined too, you know.
No, we're old now. We like to go to bed early, right? This is past our bedtime. So
Get out of here. You younger than me, man.
I don't have not a heart, not at heart. I'm not.
So and what about uh um how's your children doing, man?
Yeah,
Kristen,
Chris is doing
Kristen,
great.
and Chris and
And
Nikki.
Nikki, Nikki's graduating from nursing school this year. Chris finished. Chris is an investment banker now. He was a lacrosse player, right?
Right, right,
But
right.
he still plays guitar and does his production stuff for fun and that kind of thing. So he's having a good time. He still
Yeah, I
plays
remember
lacrosse.
okay, yeah, he was making some beats for a minute there, and he wanted to play the drums. I remember he was all over the place, man. He got
He
some
is.
wonderful children.
He
Yeah,
is.
wonderful, man.
How's Mika doing?
She's good. I just saw her. She has a business. She has clients, and she's got a staff of people under her cleaning houses and offices. She
Awesome.
calls it
Awesome.
M's cleaning service.
I love it. I
Yeah,
remember we had Mika
she's
and
good.
Nick like kind of like hanging out. They were about the same. I think they're about the same age, right? And
Yeah.
I think they talk too, right? So
Say that again. Yeah, they do. They're still hooked up on Instagram, which I'm happy about that.
I am
You
too.
know
I
what
am
I'm
too.
saying?
Yeah,
But
man.
man, you gotta well, I'm trying to get you to say you ready to do another record so we can figure out how we gonna do it,
Let's
what
do it, man.
music we gonna do.
Yeah,
You
no.
ready?
In my spare time, I converted my garage into a big live room. It's not quite done. Those things are never done, but you got to
Okay.
come. When you're in Fred, you're coming to Frederick pretty soon too. You guys are playing in Frederick pretty soon, right?
We're playing there, yeah. I think it's the 20th or something like that, or the
Yeah.
21st
So you
April.
have to come to the house and I'll show you what's up and we're gonna I'm still working on it, but at least it's a big room now and it's got some good sub bass treatment, so your kick will sound awesome.
Woo, nice, man. Nice. I just to be honest with you, man, I'm like I've been very blessed this year. I got a lot of different projects, but I'm tired, man. I need to figure out how I can take some time with all of this stuff with COVID that's been going on the last few years. It's like it really drains on your head, right? I had a student last night, one of my really nice students, and he told me something that was very disturbing, and a lot of young people nowadays are they get depressed. I don't know how to get them out. You know what I mean? And being his music professor, it's like he confides in me, but I'm like I feel useless because I'm not a therapist. You know what I mean? But I've had a couple of those this year, and with COVID on top of everything, it's rough, man. I'm really happy with the music projects. I really just want to get to them, but all of the stuff in the middle is
Yeah,
like it
really
drains
hard.
you.
Yeah, no,
It drains you.
when I think about how important my music teacher was to me when I was a teen, right? And all the hormones are raging, you don't know what you want to do with yourself and don't even know what time it is, right? And
Yeah,
that was the anchor right at the end of the day that led you to do something productive, right? I think
yeah,
it's like kids that play football or like my son that plays lacrosse or whatever, it's having just something to be disciplined about that gives you a
right,
focus for, right? And I think that's why musicians like
right.
they look to you to be like my therapist, right? At the end of the year, hey man, yeah, whatever, you might be my teacher, but you're much more than that. Just like Brophy was for all of us and press grade, like
Absolutely.
they were just
Yeah, yeah,
life
yeah,
coaches, right?
yeah,
We were really blessed to
yeah.
have
Absolutely.
cared enough about us
That's true.
to get into that, right? So
That's true. That's true. That's true. Yeah. Eric, man, I want to thank you for the time with being with us. We're gonna do this again, and I want the next time we're trying to figure out something. Now, since you're such a you know, involved in all of the tech, we need some help because sometimes we get shut down if we want to play some things with YouTube. Now, dig this. I've had podcasts before, they shut me down saying that the record label has copyright issues. And I'm like, but it's my record label.
Well,
no matter
I,
no
I
matter how
shared,
much stuff I send them.
yeah.
So I need some help. I need a lawyer, somebody that can help me
Probably
figure out.
algorithms that detect that, right? There's AI now involved because there's no way a human being can listen to everything that somebody posts, right? And so now it's just,
Right.
oh, heard that, that's copyrighted. Nope, can't play it. And I don't have a short answer for you. Some research on that. You should be able to play your own stuff on your own podcast for sure.
Yeah, we really got it. We really got to find out how to nip that in the bud because I've sent them several. Because prior to working with Warren with this podcast, I had one here in Brooklyn with my brand Moby, Music of the Black Experience, and I was interviewing people and having people on and talking about the music and playing our music like that's on my label or say Avery Sharp on his label, right? And then we would get a flag where they would shut down that part of the show. They wouldn't shut down the whole show,
Well,
but
that's
you
nice.
couldn't hear the music.
A lot of times they'll shut the whole thing down, right?
That's true.
Yeah.
Luckily, they didn't do that. They shut down the portion with the music, right? And people were able to come back in and join. But so I've written them several letters. The thing I hate about YouTube, in particular YouTube, is that you can't call somebody. You can't like it's kind of like, Warren, you've had this problem too, right? Have you tried to reach out to them?
We had it once or twice. I don't think we really got that deep into it. We
Yeah,
just
I
kind
had to get that deep into it. I'm sorry, because it was my music, music I wrote, music I
Right.
copyright, and music
oh,
that
for
was put
sure.
out on my record label. So,
Yeah, but
and they just,
that's almost to some extent that's the machine working in your favor because wherever you have your music posted, it's recognized as being your music, and there's nothing that links you playing it on YouTube to you personally, right? That's the thing, right? So anyway,
right. I don't know how that's in my favor though, because I need to be able to play my own music, right? That's a whole nother conversation, but because I see my music everywhere. I get a statement like that a song like, so for example, Upon Arrival from Blue Noise was played 1,500,000 times, and then I get a statement that says 0.0.25 cents.
oh,
How did that add up?
that's the two different. That's the part of the company that pays you is the one that has 0 point, but the part that's like selling to you is the other number, right? So it's the
Yeah. Anyway, man, as a musician, I mean, I want to have a side shoot like you got so that I don't have to worry about the money
no.
making as
You know what?
musician.
We need to work together to figure out a way. How does a talented person monetize their art form, right? It has to be.
Yeah,
It
yeah,
can't
yeah,
be like the rich get richer, right? We're already
yeah,
seeing the whole world is in revolution against that, right? So it's
absolutely.
got to
Right now, too.
right.
Yeah,
It's got to come down to this. Well, it's like it can't
yeah.
just be like the Mozart playing for the court anymore.
Right.
It's got to
Right.
evolve just like everything else, right? So
That's true. That's true. So I got to do the work, I guess. Another thing that's going to make me more exhausted, but I got to do it because it was even more exhausting is getting them little puny checks, I mean,
uh,
for years,
yeah,
stuff that
how many
stuff,
days do you have to make a dollar, right? I mean,
yeah, right.
and
I
how
mean,
many
stuff
dollars?
I record,
It's just
huh?
crazy. The math just doesn't work out, right?
No, it doesn't work out unless you're a pop artist, right? I mean, I get stuff back that, that was on songs that I wrote that McCoy recorded or somebody recorded, and I'm not getting the money, but
Yeah.
they're playing it all the time. So I got to do something about it. That's another mountain I got to climb. I'm ready. I'll be ready though. After I get a week vacation, I'll be ready.
All right. Hey, rock on, Ronnie.
Eric, man, thank you so much for the time, bro.
It's such a
We're gonna
privilege.
be talking soon.
Honor.
We got a lot of music to talk. We got a lot of music to talk about, and so I'm just gonna say this before we go. That Eric's part of the concert, September 11th in St. Louis with the St. Louis All-Star that I'm bringing from out of town as part of the South Arts residency grant that I received, as well as an agreement with the Kransberg Arts Center. So I'm very excited about this because this is something I've been wanting to do forever. I'm going to have like a lot of my closest friends, a lot of my mentors on the stage together. You know, it's going to be awesome. We're going to just have a good time. It's going to be a multimedia show. You know, I'm working on the film to go as we're doing it. I have some dancers choreographing. So it's a lot of work, man, but it's going to be a beautiful thing, man. I'm glad you're going to be there. And again, thank you for your time. Give my love to Carrie and the family, and I'll talk to you real soon. I'll see you in a couple of weeks, right? We're down there. You're going to be there, right?
I'm going to be there. Yeah, I'm still bringing a bass amp, right? All right.
Yeah, thank you. And the drum set. I need the drum set.
Okay.
So,
you
all right,
gotta,
Eric.
So
thank you, brother.
Guys, I got to close.
All right, man. You know, you see how good I'm doing? You said you got to be to bed at 10 o'clock. You turned into a pumpkin.
On the money.
All right, man. Love you.
I want to close this comment. Y'all know Dave Certain, bass player? It's on Facebook.
Yeah.
If you see a great trumpet player's band, you hear some great trumpet. A great guitar player's band, some great guitar. But when you see a great drummer's band, you see a great band. Now, what about that, Ronnie?
Oh,
man.
He ain't gonna be on. He's unfriended with that kind of comment. Obviously, he hasn't seen any great drum bands. I mean,
no, he said you see a great band when you see a drummer's band, is what he said.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, I got it now. Oh, yeah. Okay, cool.
If the drummer's good,
I am. It didn't register. Right. It didn't register before. It's like, oh, you see a great guitar, you see the guitar, you see that. All right. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, brother. I got you. I hope you're watching the podcast. We'll get you on here too.
Yeah, definitely.
All right, everybody. Have a good evening. Thank you so much again, Eric. Talk to you soon.
So much. Really appreciate it. It was an honor.
Oh, man. My pleasure.
City Jazz Sessions is brought to you by St. Louis City Jazz, a 501c3 company dedicated to music education and appreciation. The CEO is Magic Man 50, and for more ways to connect with City Jazz Sessions, visit cityjazzsessions.wixsite.com/St. Louis. The City Jazz Sessions team includes host, content director, and guest coordinator, jazz great Ronnie Burrage. Follow Ronnie at ronnieburrage.biz. Host, website designer, graphic artist, content director, and guest coordinator, singing sensation Leica. Discover more about Leica at leicamusic.com. Additional production services are provided by Lions Den Productions. Go to thelionsdenstl.wixsite.com/home. Please like, share, comment, and subscribe for more great content.